Okay, guys, today we're going to learn about operations with rational numbers. Operations are adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Those are our four operations we work with, okay? So just today, we're just going to go over adding and subtracting. So let's talk about that. So adding and subtracting rational numbers. Remember, rational numbers are anything that can be written as a fractions. They're fractions, decimals, whole numbers, negative numbers. Any of those are all rational numbers. So we're going to be dealing with all of those. Okay, so when we want to know how to add and subtract, we want to make sure the numbers are all in the same form. So make sure they're all fractions or they're all decimals. That makes it really easy to add and subtract them and to perform these operations on them. And then you're going to add and subtract fractions like normal, okay? So remember your rules for adding and subtracting fractions and decimals. Miss Marinsky should be going over how to add and subtract fractions and multiply and divide fractions just in case you don't remember how to, okay? And make sure you convert to the correct form for your answer. So multiple choice answer, even though you have it in decimal form, the multiple choice answer may be a fraction. So make sure you know how to convert back and forth. And if you have any questions on how to do those, let me know and I'll give you some extra practice on all of that. Okay, so we're going to do some examples. I'm going to post this into your Google Classroom because I have it linked right here to go to a fun little Jamboard that will have the work written out for you, okay? La, 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 la. There we go. It took a little bit to come up. Okay, so our first example, if we go back to this, our first example is 2/5 plus 0.54. So I've got that right here, 2/5 plus 0.54. Okay, I want you to try to figure it out for yourself first, and then come back and I will go over it with you. Okay, so I would pause the video right here so you can go through it and do it. Okay, so in order to do this, I either need it both as fractions or both as a decimal. I'm going to put them both as decimals because I can convert 2/5 really easily. Okay, I know 2/5 is 0.4 plus 0.54. Okay, and that's because when I do 5 goes into 2, I need to put that decimal and go over. I know 5 goes into 24 times. Okay, and that gives me what I need. Okay, so that's 0.4. And then we're going to add them just like normal. So we want to line them up, 0.54, 0.40. So make sure those decimals are lined up right there. Those decimals are lined up right there. And then we're going to add just like normal. 4 plus 0 is 4, and 5 plus 4 is 9. And then we bring that decimal down and put it right there. And look, we've got 0.94 is our answer. Okay, if we go back, our second one, negative 6.5 minus 7/9. Okay, so the next one we're going to do, hold on. I did that with my Screencastify one. Okay, let me erase this for you. We're going to use this time. Okay, negative 6.5 minus 7/9. Okay, this time I'm going to make them both fractions because 7/9 as a decimal is not a pretty number. It's hard to add and subtract with and to use. So we're going to do both fractions this time. So I know say it's 6.5. 0.5 is 1/2, so we know that's negative 6 1/2 minus 7/9. Okay, and then look at, I don't like adding mixed numbers and regular fractions, so I'm going to change this into a fraction, an improper fraction. And what do? We do 2 times 6, so 2 times 6, and then plus 1. Okay, so 2 times 6 is 12, and 12 plus 1 is 13. And then it's over the number that we have on the bottom of the fraction here, 2. 13/2. And then we're going to subtract 7/9, okay? In order to subtract fractions, they have to have common denominators, okay? So my common denominator, 9 times 2 is 18, so we're going to do 18. I did 2 times 9, so 2 times 9 was 18. So 13 times 9, let's figure out what 13 times 9 is. 13 times 9. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 1 is 9 plus 2 is 11. So that is 117. And don't forget the negative there because it was negative. Minus, we have 18 again. This time we did 9 times 2. So we're going to do 7 times 2. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay. And then we're going to subtract negative 117 minus 14. So when I'm doing a negative number, subtracting a positive number, I'm just going to add those two together because they're both negative. So I can make this plus a negative 14 over 18, and that makes it so I can just add those two together. So 117 plus 14, we'll use that over here. 7 plus 4 is 11, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3, and then 1. So my answer ends up being negative 131 over 18, okay? And then we want to reduce that, okay? We want to reduce that and see how many times it goes into 18. So we're going to do 18 goes into 131. Okay, so 18 goes into 131. This is a big one. 18 doesn't go into 13, so we need to do 18 into 131. It ends up being 7. Uh-oh, it's going away. There we go. It's going to be 7 because 18 times 7, 56. 7, 8, 12. That gives me 126. So that's 126. 131 minus 126 is 5. Okay. So I know it's 7 is the whole number, and then I have 5 is my remainder. 5 is my remainder. So that goes on top of the fraction. And then 18 is what we were dividing by, so that goes on the bottom of the fraction. So 7 and 5/18. And it's negative, so don't forget that negative. Okay, negative. Okay, so that's my answer. Negative 7, sorry. That negative is not pretty. And 5/18. Okay, so that one was a little bit more complicated, but it'll help you understand a little bit more. Okay, and then our last one, 9/5 minus a negative 3.5 plus 3 2/3. It's adding. We're doing adding and subtracting, so we're going to end up doing both now. So we're going to move on. Let's erase that. Okay, and then so let's see. Let's go through this a little bit. 9/5 minus negative 3.5 plus 3 2/3. So I already have two fractions, 9/5 and 3 2/3. And we know we can put this into a fraction really easily because 0.5, remember, is 1/2. So we're going to write 9/5 minus a negative 3.5 plus 3 2/3. Okay. And then let's see, 9/5 minus, when I do minus a negative, that means, let's do a different color. That means when I do minus a negative, that means I can add a positive. Okay, so this ends up being a positive right there. So we're going to end up adding 3.5, but we're going to change that into an improper fraction, remember? So we're going to do 2 times 3 plus 1. Okay, so 2 times 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7. So we're going to do 7, and the bottom of the fraction is a 2, and 2 is going to be on the bottom. And then we're going to do plus 3 2/3. So now we're not doing any subtracting. It's all adding now. Okay, so now let's see. We are going to find the common denominator. Okay, so you can do this in two ways. We can either work with just 2 at a time, or we can do all 3. Okay, first let's change this into an improper fraction as well. 9/5 plus 7/2. Remember, 3 times 3 plus 2, okay? So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 plus 2 is 11, so 11 thirds, okay? And then we're going to go up here, okay? So let's do them all together. I know all of these are divisible by 30. 3 times 10 is 30, 2 times 15 is 30, and 5 times 6 is 30. So we're going to do them all as 30. 30, 30. Ooh, that's supposed to be a plus. Plus 30. Okay. So if I did 5 times 6 was 30, so I need to do 9 times 6. So what's 9 times 6? 54. Okay, that should be a 4. 54. I'm sorry. Let me erase that. Okay. Let's go back. Let's do a better 4. 4. Oops. 4. There we go. 54. And then 2 times 15 was 30. So let's do 7 times 15. What's 7 times 15? Let's look at it. Let's look at it right here. 15 times 7. 7 times 5 is 35. We carry the 3. 7 times 1 is 7 plus 3 is 10. So it's 105. And then 3 times 10 is 30. 11 times 10 is 110. Okay? You just add the 0 onto the end of the 11. Okay, now we're going to add them all together. 105 plus 54 plus 110. We can do them all together, okay? Or you can do them separately if you want. 5 plus 4 is 9. 5 plus 1 is 6. And 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer ends up being 269 over 30, okay? And that's my improper fraction, so we want to put it into a mixed number. So we're going to do 30 goes into 269, okay? So what goes into 30? How many times goes into 269? Well, I know 3 times. I know 3 times 9 is 27. So let's try 30 times 8. What is that going to give me? 8 times 0 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. That gives me 248. So we're going to do 248. So this is an 8. 248. 9 minus 8 is 1. 6 minus 4 is 2. Look at that. And then 210. We know 3 times 7. Oops, wrong one. 3 times 7 is 21. So we're going to do that. And that means if we just add the 0 for the 30, it gives me 210. So because this is the end of our swap and we need to put a 0 on there, we're going to put a decimal there, decimal 0. That's where that 0 came from. And it ends up being 7. So our answer is 8.7 or 8 and 7 tenths. Okay, because anytime it's just a single number behind a decimal like that, that's 7 tenths. So it's going to be 7 over 10 if it's just that single number right there. Okay, let me erase that and make it look a little better. 8 and 7 tenths. And that is our answer, 8 and 7 tenths. Okay. If you have any other questions, please let me know. And we'll talk about it later. Okay. Thank you for watching, guys. Remember, any questions, just shoot me an email or something or a comment, and I'll make sure that we get it all set. Okay. Woo. Escape. Have a good day, guys.